Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, and as you can see by the title, I'm doing a city review finally, and this city in particular has actually been the most requested since I've done my last city review, so I thought I definitely have to do this city next. And if you're not sure what this city is, it's Nerdshire by ConflictNerd. I'll put a link to his channel below, and also just so you know, I asked permission from him to make sure it's okay if I review his city, and he said yeah, that's fine, go ahead. So this is the review. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. Okay, so I think the first thing that I wanted to mention was there seem to be not enough highway underpasses. So for example, if I zoom in, there we go. So I think there needs to be more of roads just going underneath the highway. Even if they're little roads like these ones that just connect from side to side, I think it would make it more connected, because right now they all have to come up to this part here, and it's like they're all pushed into one area. So if you're providing more connections overall, you're spreading out the traffic in general. So I think that's what the big issue is in certain areas of this whole city, is that there's not enough main roads to actually divert around from major traffic prone areas. So I did notice down here, this part, like for example, this is good how there's the little roads connecting underneath. It just makes it more connected. And even if you don't do roads crossing underneath, maybe you could do pathways simply crossing from side to side going underneath, just giving more connection overall. If I just exit the preview mode, there we go. If we go down to Conflict Park, London Park East, London Park West, I noticed something very interesting that I really do like, and it's a very smart and sneaky little tactic. Anyway, it's how he has zoned the residential. So instead of doing majority of the residential right up against main roads, it seems that he's used different zoning as a way to reduce the sound coming towards the actual residential area. So in this case, if we zoom into London Park West, as it's named, we've got the residential here, and then along the main road there's actually the commercial. So if the residential was maybe here, there might be some noise issues, but since the commercial is here instead, it's used as a sound barrier, so it's more quieter for the residents to live inside of this block. So that's a very sneaky good idea. It doesn't happen everywhere in the map, but it's a good little sneaky idea. So like for example, it's done here again, and here and here, and yeah. Also, another good thing that I noticed is that the industrial areas are actually really close to the office spaces and the commercial, and I always like to have the industrial areas spread out throughout the whole map. I'll just go back to preview mode. There we go. So there's some industrial here, over here as well, and also up here, and I think some there as well. So it's pretty spread out, and if you have it all in one huge area, it's going to create so many issues because there's just so much traffic going in and out of that one area. So it's good to spread it out a little bit at least. And while we're on that topic of industrial area, I do like how he's split up these two highway entrances and exits. So yeah, that's the entrance. So instead of having them both meet here, spreading them out is just once again spreading out the traffic. And yeah, so if they were both meeting on this road here, this road would be a nightmare, to be honest. So putting it up here, they have the option to go wherever, and yeah, so that's a good idea like that. There's this road here, and I see it's pretty congested, and I do know why. I know why. And there's a couple of reasons why. It's because I feel as if there needs to be maybe a highway connection here that will specifically help with this traffic here. But the main issue I found with this, well, the two main issues is, first of all, the train track here. I think since this is quite a main road, you shouldn't really mix in the train with the traffic. So maybe doing a tunnel or a bridge straight over, maybe a tunnel so it's not so, I don't know. whichever one works better, because the train station is right there, so depends on the gradient. But yeah, this should definitely not touch the road. So if there was no connection here, that should flow a much better straight through here. And the other major issue is this tiny little road right here, this one right there. And I always say that you shouldn't connect a little road to a big intersection. So my recommendation is to simply delete that one there, and all of the traffic going here can actually go back to this main road, because it's a main road, so it should be used. And so yeah, they can all come down here and hit the traffic lights there. And yeah, so I think giving this road the priority, so longer traffic lights. So for example, if you're using this function up here, the timed traffic light function, you might, for example, just for reference, you might do 40 seconds going straight ahead, and then give this road here maybe 15 seconds, and then 40 seconds and 15, just so this one has a longer time to actually flow. And yeah, maybe putting a highway connection here, or maybe just connecting this road, this main road here, over to here. That might connect it up better, I think. It's kind of tricky because the industrial areas are always so crazy, I think. Another thing I noticed throughout the whole city, and I'm not sure why it's been built like this, and he often uses the Avenue Road with only 2 lanes. And is there a specific reason why? Because I think simply upgrading these roads would allow for a lot more traffic flow in general. This road here is probably not a good place to put it, because there's a lot of traffic here, so reducing the amount of options to go speeds up the movement in the intersection. So I would again delete that one right there. See, happy. And so yeah, that should speed that up. And also, if you're going to have a lot of little roads like this connecting to a main road, what we actually do is, because every time they meet, it's most likely going to have a traffic light. It looks like he's removed them. But what we actually do often in real life is every second road will be a one-way. So this will be normal, and then second, one way, going off. Normal, one way. But then again, I noticed there's no connection up here, so you need to you need to extend this road along here, just so they can go around. But yeah, so that's what we do in real life. So every second road is the one-way road off. So that way, when you do that, they're not really having to stop, because they can just easily turn off and that's it. And there's no one entering onto this area. So there's not really, it's just reducing the amount of worry for them. Over here at the main train station, I did notice there is a little education hub, and I think that's a really good idea, because there's going to be lots of trains coming in from all different areas of the city and the region. They're coming in, and then they can easily just get off, walk down, and go to university or school, whichever school. And yeah, so that's just making it more connected, more accessible. I would recommend maybe doing a pathway up to there, just so they can, instead of having to walk down, they can just go straight across there. And maybe a couple more pathways. I'm not sure what he done here in the later episodes. Maybe he filled it in. It kind of looks a little bit bare right now, a little bit odd. So maybe put in some pathways, some trees, some parks, those types of things. And also the use of the subway system is quite extensive, and I really do like that. And I noticed there's actually a lot of public transport in the whole city. I didn't really go into detail with it, because it's kind of hard to follow when there's so many different public transport options in a city. Like, not that it's bad, it's just a little bit confusing to look at from someone who didn't design it. But I can see the subway system is quite good, and it goes around the blocks quite easy. Yeah, and there's clearly some kind of subway corridor happening around the city. So yeah, I think that's a really good way to lay it out. And I'm sure without the public transport, or specifically the subways, there would be major traffic issues. So And you can see the subways are used quite a lot, 12,000 per week, which might not seem like a lot, but for in the game, it's quite large, I think. I think for as a city as a whole, I would probably encourage biking, because that way they're walking more, they're riding their bike more, and they have less dependency on cars or public transport. So I usually do that in every city I make, so it's just reducing the traffic. I did notice, where is it, over here? The monorail actually goes right to the airport, so that's making it really convenient. Don't you just love how all the cars go crazy? The only thing I was really concerned about is I was following the blimp, and the planes and the blimp actually flew into each other, so I'm not sure if you noticed you done that, but not that it really matters in the game, but anyway. For this industrial area here, I kind of like how he's used a more circular design, so it's more like you go in and then you can just drive straight back out, and you don't really need to mix in with any traffic. So all the traffic is going up into this lane, and then they can just easily come straight back out and then go back onto the highway. So it's always good to have the industrial area close to the highway with easy connection there. Also, I was looking at these types of entrance and exit ramps in the really busy areas, and I think for when it's in a really dense area like this here, I think what the better option to do, and I noticed you've done this somewhere else, I think the better option to do is to actually, for example, you would remove this one. Actually, I might do it quickly. So I would remove this one here. So then this road going underneath here, it's only servicing these two roads here. And then so the roads that I just demolished, I would rebuild them right here. So then it's kind of splitting up the two areas. So this little road here would only focus on cars going onto the highway from here and then exiting here, and then just so it's splitting up these two areas, reducing the amount of traffic in one area. And if we just have a look at the education real quick, I do like how over in this area here, there's kind of one little primary school, elementary school in each block, so that's a good idea. So it's making it really accessible by walking. Same with the high school as well. Some areas are lacking, but the game isn't, he hasn't finished the game yet, so it's kind of expected, but I think this whole area here is a good example of how to lay it out. So it's just making everything really accessible close by, so you don't really have to cross the main roads. And I was looking at the location of the hospitals, and for example, and how he's placed this one here is actually what I do in my game as well. And so you shouldn't really put the hospital right onto the main road, because it's going to create a lot of traffic, and a main road, it's a main road because there's a lot of traffic, right? So I always put the hospital back one block, and he's done that here and kind of here, no, not really, but he's done it over here as well, and in here, so, and also over here as well. So it's always a good idea to put it back just a little bit. And I think the last thing that I want to look at is the garbage locations. It's always good to have the garbage, whichever one you choose, it's always good to have really good highway access, because they need to distribute over the whole city quite quickly. So I like how he's got a large concentration here, and they can easily get on and off the highway right there. It's good to have them kind of split up over the city, so there's not going to be a huge amount trying to move around in one area. So there's some here, over here, and yeah, so that's good how he's split them all up like that. And just a couple of little things before I wrap up. When there's a lot of traffic, for example here, you'll notice there's this little road right here, and it's kind of causing a weird gap. So I always try to avoid really small amounts of road like this. So even though it's kind of a difficult situation, I would try to make there no intersection right here, just so there's no, like, they'd have to go, stop, go, stop, go, stop, and then it kind of builds up in awkward phases. So it's always good to avoid little amounts of road like that, and it'll help with how the flow of traffic goes, especially when it's close to an intersection. You don't want to have that awkward little gap. And I've noticed that throughout the city. But overall, I think the city, it's not as bad as people were saying it was in my videos in the comments. Like I said, the whole city isn't complete yet, but majority of it is, the majority of the downtown area is. And I think the only thing that I wish this city had more of is more parks. It's quite dense, and parks are nice, it makes you feel good. So yeah. Anyway, that's all I'm doing for this city. I hope you all enjoyed. Let me know what you think. Let me know what city I should be doing next. And yeah, I'll see you all in the next episode. Bye for now.